Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back with another video, and today we're gonna be looking at another aspect of our failing system. Um, Mainly right now the education system. You know what I'm saying? Because it's bad, guys. It's like really bad. But before we get into that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss another upload. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's just get right into it. So, this is an article right here from Yahoo News. This is all around the country. People are failing to do basic math, reading. Like, literally, we can't do basic math and reading. It's terrible, guys. Like, we're gonna go through some articles and stuff, and I'm gonna show you guys how bad it is. Like, it's even better than what I'm showing you. This is just like what I could scrape up. You know what I'm saying? So, promises kept. Akron School Board questions I Promise School's poor test scores. This fall's class of 8th graders at the I Promise School hasn't had a single student pass the state's math test since the group was in the 3rd grade. Not one in 3 years. Akron Public Schools board members Valerie McKittrick asked after that data point was presented to the board earlier this week. It is discouraging, responded Keith Leachy Clifford Liecci. My bad if I butchered that. But the district directors of school improvement. 5 years into the I Promise School, a public school that operates in partnership with the LeBron James Family Foundation, Akron School Board members are starting to ask questions about whether I Promise is living up to its academic promise. So, now remember, they haven't passed in 3 years instead of 5, because COVID, so they didn't send it out in 2020 or 2021. We didn't have to take the state tests. And bro, I'm not gonna lie, because I took the state test every year, except 6th grade. Yeah, 6th and 7th grade. When COVID hit, I didn't take the state math test. But other than that, I took it every year from 3rd grade. And now that test is kind of hard, but if you really pay attention, it's really not that hard though. It's pretty simple, but it is a wide scope of things on a math test. And sometimes the math test, the stuff that some stuff, especially towards the end of the math test, the last few pages, there might be some stuff we haven't learned yet. But other than that, yeah, bro, it's really not that hard. And it's sad that people really can't do basic reading and math. So the next one, Fortune.com. American students are in trouble. About a third of students in the youngest grades are behind on reading. Only 36% of 4th graders are proficient at grade level math. The newest National Assessment for Educational Progress, or the NAEP, the nation's report card, shows 8th graders' history scores are the lowest on record since the assessment began in 1994. And what's more, every single state experienced teacher shortages in at least one subject in 2022. While denying many of these problems began before COVID-19, there's no denying that the pandemic paused or reversed the academic process for kids across the country. The NAEP shows that for both 4th and 8th grade students, reading scores declined in at least 30 states and jurisdictions, and math scores declined nearly everywhere from 2019 to 2022. Perhaps the most troubling is how the pandemic made existing achievement gaps worse. Stanford University researchers conducted a district-by-district analysis of the NAEP results and found that students in low-income school districts and communities experienced the biggest learning loss. How do we get American education back on track? A part of the solution will come from increasing the range of options that families have when choosing schools. The NAEP's wake-up call shows that a one-size-fits-all approach isn't working for all students. School choice programs mean that students aren't locked into attending a district public school based on home address. Instead, they provide parents with funds that can be used towards a broad range of options, including secular or religious private schools as well as charter schools, which are publicly funded schools that have greater autonomy. So this next one right here is from the New York State government, or the New York City website itself. You know what I'm saying? And this is the proficiency rates for New York City students by race, ethnicity, grade 8, 3 through 8 math. Let's see the change. Asian, 6.1, negative 6.1 points. Black, negative 7.7 points. Hispanic, negative 9.9 points. White, negative 8.2 points. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's a big drop off right there. Like, look at that, guys. That's crazy. It went down insane, bro. Next one, Psych Central. Most of urban and rural students, primarily from families below the poverty level, are not even getting a rudimentary education. In fact, according to a recent study released by the America's Promised Alliance, an organization chaired by Colin and Alma Powell, the state has a 30% rate of students failing to graduate high school. But the really upsetting data is that in urban settings, typically 50 to 70% of the students fail to graduate. That's insane numbers. This is more than an embarrassment. This is an epidemic of failure that costs America billions of dollars in lost productivity and high crime rate. Because, yeah, crime is rampant. Like, you could really, walk outside in almost basically any major city in the U.S. now and watch somebody just get robbed. Like, really, I've seen people literally just get robbed, their cars stole, crackheads everywhere, sleep all over the street. Like, crime is, crazy. People just be rioting, looting businesses and stuff. It's really bad, for real. What needs to be done is quite clear. Strong superintendents like Michelle Rhee in Washington, D.C., Joel Klein in New York City, and Aaron Duncan in Chicago, to name a few, have made significant progress with some combination of the following. Take power away from the unions and ineffective school boards. Require longer school days and longer school years. Eliminate tenures for teachers and offer merit pay to the best teachers. Fire those who can't teach effectively. Certify teachers without degrees in education but who demonstrate the ability to teach effectively, which also increases the percentage of minority teachers for schools dominated by minority students. Fire principals whose schools are ineffective. Fund charter schools and offer school choice, so the path to success is known, but is blocked by a recalcitrant bureaucracy and a stubborn teachers union that prefers the status quo. That's why it takes exceptional leadership to effect real change. That's nice. Now, these next few are from Fox, and I'm not going to get, too into them. Just really going to, read the headlines to you. But this show, this is all different places around the country. New York, Chicago, D.C. That's crazy. That's 3 different states. This is on the whole other side of the country. This one right here. Oregon wants to dumb down graduation rates so it can hide how badly it is failing our kids. As Oregon parents send our kids off into the new school year, the first time with little to no COVID-19 restrictions since 2020. Bureaucrats in our state capital, Salem, are recommending that we dumb down requirement, and this is not the state capital for New York, this is the state capital of Oregon, are recommending that we dumb down requirements to cover for the fact that the public schools are failing our kids. If we don't take a stand here, this could easily be a trend pushed by government teachers unions in other states. During the pandemic, most legislators sat idly by while the government teachers unions kept our kids out of the classrooms, causing 2 years of learning loss. On June 22nd, 2021, the Oregon legislature passed SB 74, which removed accountability measures that showed whether a high school graduate had a 10th grade proficiency level in reading, writing, and math. This law requires that the Oregon Department of Education makes recommendations to the legislature to review state requirements for high school diplomas, including the essential skills test. Through this law, the legislature lowered the bar for kids because the system is so broken that they fear graduating seniors can't meet a 10th grade proficiency level. You telling me that they had to remove a test because 17, 18, 19-year-olds didn't have a 15, 16-year-old's education? That's crazy. Like, and these people are supposed to be going to college next year. If they're graduating, they're supposed to be going to college next year. Like, think about how they're gonna do on their college test. That, like, they're gonna fail horribly. New York City accused of manipulating high school graduation rates by tanking standards, lower than already low bar. Now, this right here, this is like across all of New York State. They lowered the passing, like the passing grade, by 10%. Like they literally lowered it by 10% in my state. And like before COVID, right? It used to be 75%. Like you had to have 75% to pass. And then like in 2020, they passed this thing. Well, in my school district, anyways, they passed the thing, right, where it dropped the rates to 65% passing grade, and I think that's the state standard now. It's like 65%, but yeah, it literally got dropped to 65. That's 10% lower. So a lot of people that were like struggling to get that 75 were, were like getting really, really low grades. Yeah, mad people, because mad people was failing, so they just lowered it. The Education Department of New York City has been raising eyebrows among teachers over concerns it was inflating graduation rates by tanking its standard for passing high schools, leaving kids academically unprepared. Now, how are they supposed to go into college or job fields with no education? They can't do basic math. None of that. How are they supposed to get a degree in, like, what if they are trying to get a degree in engineering or even become a teacher? How are you going to become a teacher if you don't have an education? You can't. So how are we going to teach the next generation? You can't. So they're just going to be even stupider. Students who are failing classes at New York City Department of Education public schools are being pushed to the next grade level without meeting the original standards expected, according to an investigation by Chalkbeat and the Tony Stabile Center for Investigative Journalism. Now, they are not lying. Like, they will literally, even if you completely fail, they will still push you up. There's this guy, I know, I'm not gonna say his name, but in class last year, I want to say, all he would do is just sit there. Like, he would sleep or he was playing games, like on his phone. Either he was sleeping or he was playing games on his phone. He didn't listen to nothing the teacher said. Always, bro, he always got kicked out for being on his phone. Everything. He had a 3% average and he passed. He literally passed with a 3% average. It was crazy. He passed with a 3% average, and he literally slept. He didn't do he didn't do no work, no test, nothing. He literally did nothing, bro, and he passed with a 3% average. And look at this right here. 7% of Baltimore 3rd to 8th graders proficient in math. It's crazy. The report after New York City announced in February that its graduation rate has increased by 2.5% in comparison to the year prior, which surpassed most national trends. Because most national trends are all in the downside. If it was clear a student would fail, they would be given an NX grade, meaning course in progress, the report said. The students will then have to make up for the coursework, which will have lower standards than the original curriculum, according to teachers who spoke with the outlet. "13-year-olds lack basic skills in reading math as standardized test scores reach lowest in years. Data from federal standardized test scores point to another startling effect the COVID-19 pandemic had on America's children, with numbers indicating that reading and math scores for 13-year-olds dipped to their lowest rate in decades, showing no sign of post-pandemic recovery. Scores by the National Center for Education Statistics, also known as Nation's Report Card, released Wednesday, indicating math scores have reached their lowest since 1990. While reading scores dipped to their lowest since 2004, continuing the downward trend since the pandemic began in 2020. Data indicates that students scored an average of 256 out of 500 in reading and a 271 out of 500 in math, compared to 260 in reading and 260 and 280 in math just 3 years prior. That's like 50%, bro. That's like 50 and 51%. That's literally failing. That's literally failing. That's crazy. The New York Times acknowledged the startling message indicated Wednesday, saying that students fell short on the test that measures basic skills. U.S. math reading test scores plunged for students across country following COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic's toll on the learning of kids across the U.S. was revealed through national test scores released Monday that show sharp declines in math and reading. Math scores saw their largest decrease, while reading scores dropped to levels not seen since 1992 for 4th and 8th graders across the country, according to the Nation's Report Card. The average mathematics score for 4th graders fell 5 points from 2019 to 2022. The score for 8th graders dropped 8 points. Reading for both grades fell 3 points since 2019. Not a single state saw improvement in their average test scores, with some recording no change at all. Schools in large urban districts also reflected the national average. Schools failing our children. Students' ACT test scores dropped to lowest level in 30 years. Striking new low test scores on college admission on ACT college admissions tests further illustrate the devastating impact of COVID shutdowns on education and raise questions about high school students' readiness for higher education. Scores on the ACT college admissions test by this year's high school graduates hit their lowest point in more than 30 years. The class of 2022's average ACT composite score was 19.8 out of 36, marking the first time since 1991 that the average score was below 20. An increasing number of high school students failed to meet any of the subject area benchmarks set by the ACT, showing a decline in preparedness for college-level coursework. Podcast host Camille Foster told Fox and Friends Thursday, argued that the drop in test scores is due the fallout from schools pushing a social justice agenda and not focusing on the basics. And we're gonna get to this later. This social justice agenda. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way people are going about it. Earlier this month, both Dave and I wrote about Baltimore's failing school recent test score and found that there were 23 schools in the city where not even one child was doing math at grade level. These included elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. 53 schools in Illinois. Nobody was proficient at math. That means nobody was at grade level. And 53, look at this. That's thousands of kids right here. That's thousands of kids right here. Not one of them is able to do math the way they're supposed to be able to do math. Not one person. That's crazy. Look at this. exam proficiency overtime, statewide and district. English, Milwaukee, down 60%. Math, same place, down 73%. Madison, 45. 50%. Boom, 43, 53, 19, 30, 19, 27, 11, 4. It's crazy. Like everything is just down. Everybody's education is down. Like we can't do basic math, reading, and writing. The basic skills you need: math, reading, and writing. You need math. How you gonna know you got paid the right amount of money, or if you're giving somebody the right amount of money when you're buying something? How you gonna do your taxes if you don't know how to do math? How you gonna read and write contracts if you don't know how to read? How you gonna write letters and format emails correctly at a job if you don't know how to write or type? Like, come on. But like our education is down, and like this said right here, this is due to pushing a social justice agenda. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong, but we can allow stuff like this in our schools, and we can't read or write or do math properly.
Tonight I'm filled with righteous indignation. I want to define something for you tonight. The definition for pervert. It means to lead someone away from what is considered right, natural, or acceptable. This book has been permitted in 6 schools in the Wake County Public School System. I'll read just a little bit of this perversion that we have allowed in the school system. So he bends me over the bed and on the blowjob tip. It says, use your... Doesn't it make you cringe as I read that to you? Makes you crawl in your skin. It's a dastardly deed. The question today is, who is the pervert that's allowing this to be purchased and delivered to our libraries? Who is the pervert that signs off on this bill? Who are you? What do you stand for to accept this? Can you be in your right mind and be decent as a human to allow this to be at the access and the fingertips of children? We know who the perverts are. There's one political party in this country that supports this junk. It's the Democrat Party. It's a party that castrates children, mutilates children, perverts children, grooms children, murders children, and indoctrinates children. We know who the perverts are. Who is the pervert?
As I said many times before, I'm Jill's husband. Teaching isn't just what she does, it's who she is.
I have never felt prouder of our profession.
We know who the perverts are. There's one political party in this country that supports this junk.
People fear what they don't know. And it's not because of intellectual incapability, it's just the lack of exposure.
We are going to transform our nation's education system. And when we do that, we will change the course of...
We can't do basic reading and math and stuff. And now there's nothing wrong with being gay, trans, none of that. But you shouldn't teach kids who aren't old enough to make decisions for themselves. Like if you wouldn't give a 5-year-old keys to your car, you wouldn't let no 5-year-old get a job or make financial decisions, big financial decisions, anyways. But but you would allow them to, you would expose them to sexual education at such a young age, when that's more of an adult kind of thing. Like that's inappropriate. You're having trouble teaching them reading and math and writing, but you want to force them to talk about sexual stuff. Like, look at this. Pride book featuring men in bondage wearing in bondage wear shown to 4-year-olds in preschool. These kids aren't even old enough to these kids aren't even old enough to really turn the TV on and off by themselves. They can't even change the channel if they wanted to, if we're being honest. These kids couldn't even make themselves a sandwich. And we're gonna, this is what we show them? Nothing wrong with LGBTQ and everybody being accepted. You know what I'm saying? That's good. Everybody being accepted is good. You know what I'm saying? But this is horrible. Granddad's pride. Two dudes. Like, come on. This isn't right. Now, this is more from Pastor or Reverend John K. Amanchukwu Sr. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot of good stuff. You guys should check out his Twitter. This is another thing where he went to another school district and read another book that's in the schools to be in the library. It's in the libraries that kids could just go check out whenever they want. In the libraries, but same places kids are failing math and reading and writing.
This book here, it's called It's Perfectly Normal. I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's becomes erect, stiff, and larger. Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain two sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Can we, sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? We have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs, but you don't want me to read it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it? If you don't want to hear it, why should the children have to see it?
Pastor, your time is up. Thank you.
That makes two of us.
Showing children sex positions in a book is outrageous. That's actually down bad. Like that's like for real perverted. Like that's pedophilic. That's grooming children. That's a crime. And not only that, but look, after school Satan Club. Yeah, and a lot of schools are like banning religion because it's causing a lot of conflict and this and that. But well, check this out.
Federal judge has just ordered Pennsylvania school district to allow after-school Satan Club.
A federal judge to allow
After-school Satan clubs are now gaining popularity all over the United States, Ohio, North Carolina, and now Pennsylvania.
Look at this, yo. You really want that dude to be reading to little kids? But that's scary, bro.
Temple of Satan is sponsored.
Temple of Satan is allowed to put after-school Satan clubs in school, but we can't do math and reading. This is what you guys want to push. This is what you guys want to push in the school. All this inclusion and social justice and this and that. But we can't even do math and reading and English and writing. But we got Satan in school.
Sponsoring all of this, and you can go on their website and check.
Bro, they're literally doing rituals. She can't be no older than like 6. These dudes is like 4, 5, 6 years old, bro. All around a pentagram with black rolls. Like, this literally looks evil, bro. And this is just allowed?
Check out their handbook that they're teaching little kids, and they're now looking to move into high schools. They're going to have student-led after.
Like, come on. Are you serious?
school Satan clubs. What do you guys think about all of this? Federal
After school Satan club, bro. Think about that. You think about it. You sending your kid to school, right? Boom. You're like, wow, can't wait for my son to or my daughter to get an education and grow up to get a good job. Only to realize and find out, not only are they failing every subject and they don't know how to do nothing, they actually graduated not knowing how to do anything. And then they got into college not knowing how to do nothing because the college had to drop their things just like their graduation passing grade because they were failing too many, and then they're going to go to a job they don't know how to do, and then they're going to fail and be fired. Yeah. Now that's bad. I'm saying, like, we could put all this stuff in the schools and have pride movements throughout the schools and teach children how to masturbate and sexual anatomy and stuff like that in schools and preschool and kindergarten. And yes, like, that's real. Look it up. That's real. But we don't know, but they don't know how to do basic life skills. They're not getting basic education skills that they're basically the only things that they're really going to use for their entire life. Something that's never going to fail them. That's crazy. But anyways, guys, that's really going to be it for today. You know what I'm saying? This education system is a problem, and we gotta reform it. You know, so we gotta overthrow this whole system and put in place a new system where we get back to learning the basics of how to survive in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, schools don't teach how to file taxes and stuff like that. We need to get the good stuff back in school. How to do laundry, how to cook, how to wash dishes. You know what I'm saying? How to do math and calculus and algebra. Science. Need to get back to doing good science. Book reports. All that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Instead of all this extra after school Satan club and just, you know, it's crazy, guys. But anyways, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you guys later. Peace.